Welcome folks, this is the Farm and Timber vlog. Out here, one of the things I wanted to show you is how to get some free tomato plants off your existing tomatoes. But real quick, we're going to go scavenge through, forage through some snow peas. You have something for dinner tonight, and maybe a cauliflower or two. Sit tight. All right, here's our row of snow peas. You can see they're loading up nicely. They just started coming off here a couple of days ago, and all I have is this 35-foot row, and I'll pick about 2 handfuls off of it. And the amazing thing is you'll come back the next day and it'll seem like there'll be even more peas ready to come off. The good thing about these snow peas is you can saute them with something and they come out. If you cook them down too much, they'll kind of turn like a muddy color, but they still got good flavor. Granted, my mom and my wife just assume eat them raw. They say they like them just like that. So that's a thumbs up on this variety. I got this variety from Johnny's. As it is, as always, it's not a promotion, but it's what I picked. Looked good, and so far the results are a big thumbs up. Now the ideal size on these are about 3 to 3.5 inches long. As you can see, it almost resembles a kind of a snap pea or whatnot, but the peas are very small in the hull here, and we just eat the hull and everything. Every now and then you get one that's green, but it's still good. Still tastes like the rest of them. And there my onions, got a couple of them falling down. They should be starting to bulb right now. We just are in a drought. As you can see, it's rain. It's first rain we had in about 24 days. So they're struggling, but they're putting it on now, is what, hopefully with this rain. There's this cauliflower. I think we're gonna go ahead and pick him. Get my hand, about hand size there. Go ahead and get him out of there. It'll be good to eat tonight. And this is why I have to put net around all the vegetables that we're trying to grow. All right, so that was our early spring, late winter garden that was started with some real cool crops. Granted, I did have 2 rows left over. I put some sweet corn in, which as soon as they come up, eventually I'm going to convert that plot. I think we've been talking about putting a couple of high tunnels in, and might put them up there because it's up on a little bit higher spot, but we'll just have to see how it plays out. So now we're to really what I was going to do the video about, was trying to get us some free tomatoes. And what we're going to do is clip off what's called the sucker and try to get us some tomato starts on them to just have some backup. We may give them away to people, or we'll put them in the garden, have a little bit extra produce to share. But the sun's finally come out. It was cool a minute ago and I got cold, put my jacket on. Now the sun's out and I'm hot, so I got to take this jacket off and we'll get to looking at these suckers. A tomato is a vine and it grows on the ground, and we got these supported up so they don't fall over. But the sucker is typically, you got the crotch here, is this one comes up where it's trying to sprout a new stem. So this would be the limb and this would be the sucker where it's coming in out of the crotch here, and it's typically in this crease, or I also heard it being the part that comes out of the armpits. The problem is if you get a real bushy tomato plant, sometimes you don't know what's the top and what's not, so you got to be careful. I would say that kind of your cherry tomatoes, to me, are easier to find the suckers on than your more bigger variety of tomatoes, because these are like a melon or cherry tomato or grape tomato, so that obviously they're a little bit more bushier and have that sucker going off there. So we're going to clip that one. We're going to go over to some German Johnsons and try to get 2 suckers off of them. I'm going to try to do this one-handed, but you want to cut these, you don't want to tear them, you want to try to cut them as close to the stem as possible. And we'll pick him up and throw him in our bag, and I'll show you what we're going to do with them after we get to the house. Now to me, the easiest way to tell if it's a sucker or not, because it's coming off the side, is when you clip it and you put it in the vertical. If it looks like a miniature tomato plant, then that's the sucker, and you see the little hairs coming off. If you plant all those little hairs will eventually turn into roots if you plant that in the soil. Tomatoes are a pretty neat plant. One thing you gotta worry about is like on the top of this guy, like believe that, I'm pretty sure that's the sucker, but on some of these other ones, you don't know which, like on this other limb, you don't really know what the top of the plant is. I'm assuming that's the sucker, but then I don't know if that's the top or not. But if they're kind of even, I would assume that one side will start becoming the top of the plant. You just gotta be real careful to not clip the top of your plant, is what I'm getting at. Now, I've moved over to another row, and some of these smaller plants, see, it's very hard to see which one is the sucker, and a lot of them are real small. Like back in there, that would be the sucker once it grew out. Probably in a couple of days that'd be it. There's one right there that he would make a good sucker in a couple of days to transplant. Now also on these little guys, if I want them to kind of promote and get a little bit bigger, I could go ahead and clip or pull these suckers off, and this plant will grow and accelerate on it to try to put another limb off. So that's another way, if you want to accelerate your growth, go ahead and pull the suckers off now to not let them get as bushy, and they can get a little bit taller. So that's another technique you can do. All right, now we've taken our suckers and put them in a glass of water. Went ahead and trimmed up some of the limbs on the sucker stems. You want to make sure you pinch down, and pardon my dirty fingernails working in the dirt, pinch down on those limbs, because you don't want it to tear the sides, because all those little hairs and fibers on the stem are going to create roots, so you don't want to tear the flesh on the outside. I'm going to let this sit a couple of days and take a couple still pictures, and probably wrap this video up over the course of a couple of days. All right, folks, there you have it. 5 days, and you can see these trimmings on these tomato plants are starting, or excuse me, these suckers are starting to put roots on. So, you know, let them sit in there another day or two, and I could probably I'll go ahead and plot these or put them in the garden. So that's a good way to get free tomato plants going on. I hope everyone enjoyed that video. As always, if you could like, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and you know, hit that bell notification button when you subscribe so you can see any more videos coming in the future. I appreciate y'all checking in, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.